Hey everyone, Dutch Bros stock had a relatively difficult year in 2023, sending the stock price down a little bit, which has investors asking if that's an opportunity to buy Dutch Bros stock for 2024. Well, in this video, I'm going to answer where I think Dutch Bros stock could be by the end of 2024, and hopefully that will inform your decision on Dutch Bros stock. So let's get right into the financial analysis that will make this prediction.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.
All right, so as you might already know, when we're making an estimate for where we think the stock price could be in 2024, there's a lot of estimates and assumptions that go into that stock price prediction. And nobody knows what's going to happen in the future, not even the best Wall Street analyst. So, in the best case, we try to approximate where it could be, but there's a lot of uncertainty. So, don't take this as a for sure thing that this is where it's going to be, right? So let's use the numbers that we have at our disposal to make our educated guess. And one of those numbers is the current stock price, which as of right now, Dutch Bros stock is trading at $29.25. You can see that's below where it was about 1 year ago at about $33 per share. Another assumption we're going to use, or another financial metric we're going to use, I should say, is Dutch Bros forward price to earnings ratio, which as of this recording, it's 62.80. Keep that number in mind. I'm going to refer back to this when we're looking at the valuation estimate. Additionally, we're going to look at Dutch Bros estimated earnings per share forecast for 2025, because we're going to use the forward price to earnings ratio to predict where we think the stock price could be in 2024. When you're using the forward price to earnings, you want to get the earnings per share estimate for the 1 year ahead. If you're looking at a stock price prediction for 2024, you need the earnings per share estimate for 2025. So that's what we're going to get here. And that's this figure here at 48 cents. This is pulled from a consensus of Wall Street analysts that follow Dutch Bros stock. They individually submit their earnings per share estimate for 2025. And this is a collection of that to create the consensus estimate for Dutch Bros stock, and that comes in at 48 cents per share. So now that we've got the estimate for earnings per share and we have the valuation, let's go to our model that will predict Dutch Bros stock price. So here is that 48 cents per share that we got from this estimate here. And we're going to put this as our EPS for 2025 estimate. The forward price to earnings of 62.8 is pulled exactly from the current forward PE ratio of Dutch Bros stock. So as of this point, I haven't made any adjustments. I'm just taking the figures available to me and I'm creating an estimated stock price according to those forecasts I'm provided with. And according to that, the estimated stock price for Dutch Bros could be $30.14 by the end of 2024. And you can see that with the current stock price at $29.25, that's not a very attractive return for Dutch Bros stock investors. Even though that stock price would be higher than where it's currently at, you're taking a considerable amount of risk for investing in this stock to only receive a return of less than $1 in 1 year. That's not a worthwhile investment. However, what if the forward PE ratio is not 62.8 at the end of the year? What if it falls to 50? Then the stock price could fall to $24 per share. And if it's even worse, the PE forward falls to 30, the stock price could fall to $14.40 per share. In the worst case scenario I have modeled here, where the PE forward falls to 20, the stock price could fall to $9.60 per share. Now, some of the factors that influence the PE forward is Dutch Bros cash flow from operations to sales ratio, and that has rebounded after falling until July of 2022, that increased to 12.26%. If this continues to move higher, investors would be willing to pay a higher price to earnings ratio for Dutch Bros stock. Additionally, Dutch Bros operating profit margin can have a positive influence on its forward price to earnings ratio. That too has started to move higher since July of 2022, up to 5.23% in the latest trailing 12 months. If this continues to move higher, investors would be willing to pay a higher forward price to earnings for Dutch Bros stock. One other thing that could influence what investors are willing to pay for Dutch Bros stock is an increase in interest from franchisees. Lately, Dutch Bros has been more focused on its own corporate store development and less focused on franchisee expansion. The reason investors would prefer franchisees is because that's less capital intensive for Dutch Bros. Dutch Bros would not need to put up the money. Franchisees would put up the money for expanding locations, increasing market share, and those are more profitable sales for Dutch Bro because then it just takes the royalty fee and the percentage that comes in from that. That's much more profitable. That's a less riskier, more profitable business venture, and investors would be willing to pay a higher valuation for a company that has proportionally more franchisee locations versus owned locations. Okay, so those are some of the factors that could influence Dutch Bros forward PE ratio, and of course there's more than that. Investor sentiment is always fluctuating. Investors can be more enthusiastic or more risk seeking, which will increase the forward PE, or they could be less risk seeking and that would decrease the forward PE. Now, all of these scenarios I looked at were lower than the current PE forward scenario, but let's do one that's above the forward PE ratio that the stock is currently at, which is right now it's at a 62.8 forward PE. What if it increases to, let's say, 75 from the current forward PE of 62? That would increase Dutch Bros stock to $36 per share by the end of 2024. Again, not much higher from the current share price, and the likelihood of it increasing from the already, remember the forward PE ratio of 62.8 is already very expensive. That's nearly triple the average valuation of an S&P 500 stock. So it's already expensive. The likelihood of it being even higher is, I think, less likely than it being lower, in my opinion. So all that being said, my best guess for where I think Dutch Bros stock price could be by the end of 2024 is somewhere in the range of $30 per share to $28 per share. So that would be a little bit lower than where it's at now, which you can make your own estimates of what you think it could be, where you think the stock price will be, to make your decision on whether or not it makes sense to buy Dutch Bros stock for 2024. Before I let you go, let me tell you about the greatest deal on YouTube. With just a click of a button, you can get free financial analysis from a professor with decades of investing experience. So what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you again soon.